Yes, yes, yes. Who is and isn't Native Tongues on the Boom Bap chat tonight? Peace, everybody. My name is MC Till.
And I go by the name of Profound.
And if you are in Cincinnati, I suggest you go over to Everybody's Records and check them out because they have a dope selection of records, tapes, vinyls. They have all kinds of great stuff. And if you can't get to Cincinnati, it's too cold, whatever the case is, you can always check them out online at everybodysrecords.com.
Man, and if you don't have a copy of our annual Boom Bap Review books, you can get all three copies for $30 at boombapreview.com. And our new book, The Native Tongues Review, is coming out in May. That's 2022. Mark your calendars. And if you want to get the latest updates, sign up for our monthly newsletter at boombapmonthly.com.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, like, what's going on? I thought this was going to be a conversation about Nas. What is happening tonight? Well, we have some guests, High Society, and they have joined us every time we've talked about Nas, and we had some last minute technical issues, and so we are going to reschedule that conversation for some weeks down the line because those guys, man, has and Swift Mickey, they know their Nas material. They love Nas, and it just wouldn't be right talking about this album, this new Magic album, without them. So we're going to reschedule that. We're going to have a little bit shorter conversation tonight, but we're going to try to do something. If there's folks out there that are interested, we will give you the link for tonight. If you want to come into the show and appear in one of these little rectangle boxes, you can jump in and you can share your thoughts around our topic tonight and have a conversation with us. You can always just comment online as well on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook. So so just hit us if you want to join. Let us know. I'll send you the link as a comment, and you can jump in here, or you can just share your thoughts below. As always, in here with me is Profound. How you
What
doing,
up,
my man?
Till? I'm
Doing all
doing
right?
good, bro. Yeah,
Yeah,
man, I'm doing well, man. Good to see you, man.
man. It is good to see you too, my friend. Very good to see you, and I'm feeling good because I'm not even like a huge football fan, but just living in Cincinnati and the fact that, like, you know the story. This team was terrible for so long, never winning a playoff game. They uh what do they win? 6 games in the last 2 years, something crazy like that.
Hey man,
And this dude Joe Cool comes in.
y'all had a rough 16 years with old
Really?
Marvin Lewis, man.
So even though I'm not like the biggest football fan in the world, I appreciate a good story, and then when it happens to your team, like my neighbor called me after the game. He's like, "Well, I can't believe it." It's just everyone's excited. Um, so it's good. It's good to be in Cincinnati right now. That's for
Man,
sure.
I
It's
bet
fun.
it is. I give y'all props, man. Props to Cincinnati. Joe Burrow a beast. Jamar Chase
Yeah,
a beast too.
yeah,
Y'all
man.
doing it. I give it up
No doubt, no doubt.
until
Uh,
until until next season start. Then I'm gonna have to jump back on my Chicago bandwagon, man.
yeah, man. How were the Bears this year? Like I said, I don't
Stop it,
follow too
Till. We're
closely.
not here to talk about the Bears today, brother.
I
We're
didn't
here to
know.
discuss the.
I'm sorry, man. This is bringing up some
I think we
trauma
might
for
have
you.
won. I think
I
we won four
apologize.
games. I think we
I
was
mean,
six, or did we win 6 games? I don't know. Who knows, man?
maybe.
We got a new coach now, so
Okay, there you
we'll
go.
see.
There you go. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Well,
Yeah,
tonight's
we'll see.
topic, we want to talk a little bit about the native tongues. And before I get into the native tongues, I do tonight was going to be all about Nas and his new album Magic. And I do want to say one thing about Nas, and it's something that we have going on. We have a new song. It's a tribute to Nas. It's a beat I did, and a really dope MC out of Cincinnati. Actually, talking about Cincinnati, Sharp One, super dope MC. He put together this really nice tribute song to Nas called "Your Favorite Rapper's Favorite Rapper." And really dope. And we put it out there that you could do a remix for it. And we're still open to submissions for a little bit longer. We're closing submissions tomorrow. We're putting out an old school maxi single. So you'll get the song
Mm,
and you'll get the acapella version. You'll get the remixes. You get some instrumentals. We have a lot of remixes, some really interesting remixes. You'll get all of that. There's virtual digital liner notes with the credits and lyrics and Sharp One's top 5 Nas albums, Nas songs, top 5 Nas verses, and then we have a really dope reflection piece, an essay from Professor Stephen Dunn in it as well about New York State of Mind Part 2. So you'll get all that. Plus, you'll get our new book, The Boom Bap Review, just $20. So that's going to go live here in a few days. So be on the lookout for that. And then at some point, we'll release that single, that maxi single to the general public. But to scoop in and get it now, you can get that deal here in a few days. So be on the lookout for that. All right. We'll get back to that conversation soon when we can get High Society in here. But tonight, I have been on. We have a Facebook group that we moderate called the Native Tongues fan page or something like that. But it's all about the native tongues, discussing them, celebrating them. Just posting links, songs, essays, whatever. And so there's a conversation that started today about who is and isn't in the native tongues, and I profound like not like an academic, I did all this research, but like just from this is who I always thought it was perspective. Who did you always think the native tongues were?
Okay, so I was introduced to Daylight from the beginning and Tribe from the beginning. So I understood the native tongues to be Queen Latifah, Moni Love, Tribe Called Quest, Jungle Brothers, De La Soul, Chila Ali, and Black Sheep.
Yeah.
And I might be missing. Yeah, that's who I associate. I mean, well, of course, some will say leaders and Buster and all of that, but I don't really say that because they weren't there really. Well, they weren't exposed to us in the beginning like that. But that's who I thought it was.
Yeah, I'm with you. Same. And like I didn't even. I mean, the only reason I thought Black Sheep was a part of it was because of that intro. I think the Black Sheep of the family tree. Like, oh, okay, they are part of it. But then when you look Wikipedia, I mean, I don't know how accurate Wikipedia is, but when you look at Wikipedia, they have all of those core members that you just mentioned, but they also have the Fu-Schnickens, which when I saw that for the first time, I thought, well, I knew like there was a connection, but I never thought they were, a part of the native tongues, but somebody did. And
I was gonna say, I'm just thinking, I don't know, but I remember, you remember Lash Move when Fife, Fife was on Lash Move and all of that, and that was around the time native tongues was popping big too.
And that's a good one. And there was some production, from Tribe on the Fu-Schnickens debut album. I forget how many, maybe at least one. Maybe there was a couple of tracks they produced. But that, according to Wikipedia, that's according to a De La Soul interview in 1996 on Much Music's Rap City. I don't even know what Much Music's is. But anyway, so apparently someone claims that they were on record saying that. I've not found this interview. I've been searching for it, but I've not found it. And then the other person they list, in addition to what you named, is Lucien. And you hear him talk about Lucien and Tribe albums. So
and you know what though, too?
I don't even know who that is. I'm not sure who that was. That just part of the crew?
I think so. But you remember Tribe had that song on the first Instinctive Travels called Luck of Lucien.
Right. Yeah.
And then Daylight remixed it on Grind Date. As We Start Bugging. Yeah, man, they used that same beat. They used the same beat.
That was on Artificial Intelligence, Bionics.
Is it?
AOI
That's on Bionics?
I think so. Yeah. Because it comes after Simply Having that joint.
Yeah, Simply Having. Yeah. Wonderful time. Yeah. That's the Paul McCartney. Yeah. That's the man. Yeah. Okay. But I don't know though, man. But then too, Till, what about this? I never really seen, like, you used to see Daylight and Tribe and them together. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never seen Fu-Schnickens. I don't recall seeing them, like heavily whenever you saw the Jungle Brothers or you saw them in each other's videos and things like that.
don't remember, man. So long, I don't remember.
Look, Sean Mason said, "Don't forget the beat nuts too."
Yeah.
See, man,
I
and I remember, but I don't remember them like in the beginning. Yeah, man, that's a good one, man. That's a
don't
good
forget
one.
the
I don't.
well, that's someone said that today in the Facebook group that they so going back to Wikipedia, there's several more that are listed as peripheral members, and these are all members that like most of them. I always thought, yeah, these are it's like extended family because for me, like the Wu-Tang Clan
Mhm.
was, there was 9 members,
Right.
and you knew the 9. They were named 9 members, and then you just had these Wu affiliate groups, but it was a group. With the Native Tongues, it wasn't a group.
Right.
It was just people doing stuff. Red
It's
Alert
like a
was
coalition.
yeah, and it's just like whoever was around, feeling the vibe, like they were a part of it, right? So I feel
Right.
like that didn't really stop, and I feel like there was probably groups that didn't get mentioned in that core, like the Beatnuts, that were around, so they
Mhm.
definitely were a part of it to some degree, right? So yeah, the peripheral members, the Beatnuts, Brand Nubian, Shorty No Mas,
Mm,
which I would just put Shorty
mm.
No Mas but I don't know. Dilla, Leaders of the New School, Most Def, Truth and Nola, which if y'all don't know Truth and Nola, man, I love. He was on Stakes is High. I love him. DJ Stress,
Mm.
which I'm not really familiar with DJ Stress, so forgive my
Mhm.
ignorance. The Bush Babies,
Mhm.
Common, which makes sense. Now this is the one that surprised me. The Far Side. I
I
maybe
never
through the
heard that
Dilla
one either.
connection. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously super dope, no denying that. And then Vinia, how do you say this name?
Vinny and Mojica.
Yeah, Vinia Mojica.
What the
So
funky sing about the Vinny and Mojica?
yeah, Shorty No Mass is from Philly. Yeah, she's dope. And if y'all don't know, she just released a new project late 2021. So check that out if you haven't.
Man.
Yeah.
Still,
So what do
you
you
know,
think about that?
I don't know, bro. Like I'm thinking like, see, and then I get confused too, because remember, and then at a particular time, Queen Latifah started the Flavor Unit, which included
Right.
Drez from Black Sheep
Yep.
and a few other groups too, man. So and then it was like nobody said it was separate from Native Tongues, but you just kind of felt like it was separate from Native Tongues. And but I don't
Yeah.
know if that was just her starting her, her little entity or whatever, or what that really was, because
Right.
it didn't stay that long.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a fun conversation because it keeps the native tongues conversation going. Um, but I don't know if it really matters too much. I feel like the fans probably make more of a deal out of it than like the actual native tongues do, because I feel like for them it was just like, yeah, we were having fun making music. But for people are people. Like we want to know like who was in, who was out.
Right.
Um, but I don't think it matters too much.
When
Um,
was that? When was the first? I know you know. When was 3 Feet High and Rising? What was that? Was that 88?
That was 89, if I'm not mistaken.
89. Okay,
Because I
so
think Straight Out the Jungle, I think that was 88, if I'm not
okay, yeah,
mistaken.
and then they follow. Okay, so right. So I was in a sophomore in high school. I
Mm,
didn't know. I knew the groups. I knew the Jungle Brothers. And I remember when Daylight first when my first myself and I, of course, through videos and all of that. But
right.
even though I was fans of Tribe when they came, Daylight when they came, I didn't know that they collectively were being called the Native Tongue. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah,
didn't know that was a thing. Like,
right.
I didn't get that until I started really understanding, like, I started moving around myself in hip hop. Oh, this crew from over here, they call this, and
Mm, yeah,
they got together and they call that. So um it was, I didn't know, like I knew, like everybody that was a part of the group separately. Well, I
right.
keep saying group, they're not a group, but a part of the coalition separately, and
Yeah.
didn't know. I didn't even get when they did the Buddy video that they were like all cool like that. I
Right.
just was
Yeah.
like, oh, they just doing the video together.
Yeah. 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 I don't know when I realized they were, that the native tongues was something. I don't remember either. But I do remember hearing De La Soul first. And then I remember being introduced to Tribe and Jungle Brothers and thinking, oh my God, because like De La Soul was like the greatest thing ever to me. And then to learn that there was more groups that were of a similar style, it was just like, oh my gosh, there's more of this. Like it was really
Hmm.
mind blowing. So Sean Mason tunes in again. In my opinion, the native tongues represent integrity and being oddballs. LOL. I feel that.
They would be called oddballs maybe to a certain group of people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They would just always. I don't know what I don't even think I ever really put them in the category. It was just kind of like, man, I like them. You know what I mean? Like, man, I like them. And then you notice what you noticed, and then you start seeing like they kind of them and Tribe, they kind of dress the same. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And
Yeah.
some in the Afrocentric and all of that. The Jungle Brothers too, like they was all
Yeah.
dressing the same. Latifah too. So, man, dude, what is that? Okay, so let's go here. What is that movement today?
Like what is the descendants of that
Yeah,
movement?
or are there any?
That's a great question. It's a great question. I mean, I would put artists like Phonics and A1
Yeah. Oh,
Phonics.
heck
I'd
yeah.
put Kid Abstract, that we had on last Thursday. Yeah.
I
I,
would even put Blue in there.
I'd put Blue in there. I'd put Sky Zoo in there.
Yep.
I
Yep.
think I think all these. I don't know if there's like a collective though of artists. It,
We on a
like,
mission, Till.
but what's that? What'd you say?
We on a mission. We gonna find out.
We got to find out. But I think
We gotta
it's.
find out.
I think actually there's probably a lot of different native tongue like collectives, but very localized. There's I know in Cincinnati there's cats that come from that
Yeah.
lineage that hang out together and do music together. I'm
Same in
sure
Chicago.
Chicago, everywhere, any big city or anywhere there's enough hip hop heads around, I bet it exists. But as far as like breaking through, because I think the native tongues, I mean, I think what made them the native tongues was just that organic being together. Several of them went to school together. They start
Hmm.
recording music. They're just kind of hanging out, jumping on each other's songs, helping out with skits. It's a very organic thing. And I think in this day and age, especially like now, last few years with COVID, like most of the collaborations that are happening online. So
Hmm.
you don't have that kind of organic, just hanging out, being buddies. So I think it's just a different era that we live in. So I think there's a lot of artists that are similar, but I don't know if there's that many collectives that have like broken through, and garnered like more mass appeal like they did. I mean, I think of like Pro Era, like
Hmm.
Joey Badass and
Hmm.
them. I
Oh
think they're
yeah. Oh
probably of
yeah.
that lineage, you know.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. That's wild.
maybe Earl Sweatshirt. What was his crew? What's his crew name? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh no. Mm-mm.
Ah, someone please help me out. But
That
he's
name
with a
sound familiar. Earl
yeah,
Sweatshirt.
he's with a crew out in California, and they kind of have that, just doing their own thing, not really conforming, setting their own trail type of vibe. So I guess there's
Odd
some
Future.
Odd Future. Yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you, Odd Future. Yep,
Okay.
thank you. Um, so yeah,
Hmm.
one thing I've often thought about is like, what does it mean now? In 2022, like how would you try to create the atmosphere for Kid Abstract, A1, Sky Zoo, V Steez? Like,
Facts.
what can people like you and me, like, what could we do to try to like create an atmosphere, fan the flames for like a kind of that new native tongues vibe, collective flourish now when you're living in, an internet world, a virtual
I think
world.
one of those things that I mean, the could, like you said, everything is different today, but I mean, compilation stuff that we already talking about doing, for
Hmm.
ourselves and with our company. I it, it's doing what we do. It's Thursday nights, boom bad chat,
Yeah.
having VCs, having the kid abstract, or will we do the show where we have them both on? You know what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean? Or just different things that bring in the awareness because we have a pretty good amount of people following and knowing what we do. So
Right.
put them on out there. That's when you think about it, that's how hip hop spread anyway, was just
Yeah.
by the word of mouth.
Right. Yeah. Maybe, around the time, we're working on a book right now. If you haven't heard, Profound talked about it, about native tongue albums, doing reviews and some essays. But maybe around that time, like we can do some shows where we get 4, 5, 6 native tongue like artists, invite them on to share about, maybe we pick an album, native tongue album,
To
4 weeks
break
in a
down.
row. Yeah, break
Yep.
down what does it mean to you, that type of thing. And yeah, maybe a compilation comes out of it. I don't know.
I think that's
Just
dope. I
thinking.
think we,
Yeah.
we we do that because when I think about those albums, everything always takes me back to what was going on in my life at that
Mm,
time that I was
yeah.
consuming that album.
Right.
So I like to do those breakdowns and reflect on it, like how what do I think about listening when I listen to it now, and then try to take myself back to when I was really listening to, People's Instinctive Travels and 3 Feet High and Rising and the Jungle
Right.
Brothers and everything else. Like it was affecting me differently then. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And now, I mean, I feel like now, sometimes I don't know if you ever had this feeling, but sometimes I feel like, damn, dude, I wish you would have appreciated it more when you
Yeah.
really first heard it. Like I was getting it, but I don't get it like I get it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird,
Huh.
man.
I wonder if it's, you said you were what, a sophomore in high school.
I was sophomore in high school. Yeah, I was a freshman in '88.
Do you remember music that you just like absolutely loved back then? Were you just like,
Yep.
I just can't get enough? Was it native tongues or was it, were there other artists that like spoke to you even more?
Oh, there were man. Well, of course, Rakim. It was
Yeah.
Rakim. It was Native Tongues. It was Public Enemy.
Yeah.
KRS, though where when it was only a select few, what I mean? It wasn't definitely like it is today. There were
Right.
only a select few, and one thing that I always liked and remembered is that most of the East Coast dudes was always thanking each other in the linear notes of the
Mm-hmm.
album and
Yep.
stuff. Like even if they weren't crew, they was having their names mentioned, and I always
Right.
thought that was cool to open up a Tribe Called Quest album and see them thank Rakim, give
Yeah.
him a shout.
Right. That reminds me. That's one thing that there's a few things that I want hip hop to bring back. Obviously, liner notes and CDs. I would like hip hop to bring that back. But also, remember on songs where rappers used to like be so dope, they were dope from like this city to that other city in this place. You know what
Mhm,
I'm talking about?
mhm.
I want those I want to bring those references back. And then the other thing I want hip hop to bring back is the shout out track when they just would at the end of a song or like the whole like they would just shout out, but they would shout it out like the vibe with the with the beat, rhythmic ways. So anyway, but anyway, I
Man,
asked you, when we do a group album, we're going to tell people how dope we are from here to Grenada or whatever, and then we're going to do the shout out track where we're just shouting
yep.
out people. So that has to
I thought
happen.
it was dope. Io did something like that on Deep Rooted.
Yeah, yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
when
Ye-
everybody was calling, it was like straight
Yep.
out of Chicago. Yeah,
Oh, I
yep.
love that song.
KRS
Straight out to
too.
Chicago. Yeah,
Remember the KRS album, the self-titled album, the album that has
yeah,
Build Your
yeah,
Skills
yeah,
on there. He does it on
yeah.
there too.
That's a dope album. That's a dope.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so I asked you about other artists like you really, exciting you back then? Because I remember it, for me, it was the native tongues. Like I, I had heard some artists before the native tongues, but it was really the native tongues that just really captured me. Because you talked about like feeling like you didn't appreciate it, like for for
And
me,
I
yeah, go ahead.
and I was gonna say maybe it's because of my age then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I was a little younger when I first heard the native tongues, and man, I don't know, man, it was just like I know people have like, and you mentioned Rakim. Like I've always liked Rakim, and I've always recognized him as one of, if not the best. But for me, he was like I don't idolize him like a lot of
Hmm.
cats do, but I do the native tongues. So I think age is important. Like when you experience something for the first time, how old you are, I think that does play a role in it. I think I was just the right age where they just kind of mesmerized me, and I was like,
How
"This is the
old were
greatest
you
thing ever."
about, Till? Remember what grade you were in?
Yeah, I was like 9, maybe. I think I was like
Okay,
9
so
when I
you
first
around
heard
Elijah's
9,
age
10.
then. Okay.
Yeah, what
Yeah, and
grade? Yeah, yeah,
see,
yeah, like fourth grade.
yeah, so when I
Yeah.
first got on to Rakim, I was in seventh grade.
Okay.
So, I was already like, hey, who is this guy? What? Follow the
Hmm.
leader. What? And so I do, and when I think about it, and I say I wish I had appreciated it more then. I mean, I had to appreciate it to a degree to still be involved in it now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
I just look at it now, and my perception of hip hop is totally different today than it was then.
yeah, yeah. Certainly. Yeah.
So it's I remember I remember I remember really liking potholes in my lawn more
Mm.
than me, myself, and I.
Really?
Yeah, man. Like I don't know what
Huh.
it was, man. It was just something about it when I first heard it. And my parents really loved me, myself, and I, of course, because of the sample. So and
Yeah.
then Buddy too. They love Buddy because of the
Mhm.
sample too. So
Right.
man,
And
dude.
that
Hey man,
man, that
we
potholes
gotta get it. Oh, we did. Well, we had Drez. We gotta get more native tongues back on the show, man.
no, I reached out to Moni Love's people, her
Oh, that's
manager, and
right. That's right.
I reached out to Shorty Nomas, and I'm gonna reach back out to Drez. Yeah, I would love, and I'd love
And
to
you know
get
what?
Tarobi.
Let's put this out there too, because I've been hitting Pasta Noose on his Instagram. I've been
Oh,
DMing
dope.
him. Pasta Noose, man. I know you like watch the show, man. Get him come on the show, bro.
That'd be dope. That would be super dope, man. Yeah. And actually, these,
Dang.
yeah, we'll have to plot and plan and scheme how we can get De La Soul, because you know what,
Well,
our 100th episode is coming up, man.
I'm telling you, it's
That
not
would be
hard
a
to get De La. I don't think it's hard. Shout out to Dirty MF. Dirty MF. So I know from back home from Chicago. I know he's real close with Maceo. So I already
okay.
reached out to him about getting up. We sending him something for the book as
Oh,
well.
dope, dope.
Um, and matter of fact, I can holler at him, man. Put
Yeah.
me in tune. Put us in tune, man. We want De
See,
La on the show.
yeah. See what happens. See what happens. And
Hey,
speaking
look
on
at
that,
Sean said. Sean said, bring back the quirky oddballs to hip hop,
oh,
man.
and I missed that. Sorry, Sean. We were talking about oddballs, and Sean said Cool Keith and said G from Ultramagnetic were hip hop's first oddball MCs.
Hey, Till,
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you something live on the air right now, man. And I'm gonna try not to laugh while I ask you, man. Did you ever know what Kool Keith was rapping about, bro?
No.
It just sounded good to me, man. I'm like, I don't know what he's saying, man. I don't know what he's talking about, but it sounds good.
Yeah, I don't. And it's speaking of that, another more side notes. When Ghostface Killer came out and said that, Matthew Coop said no one does. No
He
one
right.
knows what Cool Keith. But do you remember when Ghostface came out and talked about his lyrics on some of his songs on Supreme Clientele? Did you see this? I think maybe it was on genius.com. I forget what site it was, but he basically was talking about some of those songs he was just rhyming, just random words like that didn't make any sense.
Dude, you know what's funny about that? Ghost was on Rap City one day,
Mm,
and I'll never forget this, man. He was on Rap City, and one of them asked him, like, it was one of the special guests. It wasn't Tigger, but somebody was on there, and they was really excited to have him on, and
mm.
they asked him about a line in one of his songs where it was something about him saying something about 12 monkeys mentioned in the movie, and they asked him to explain it because he was like, man, me and my friends, we argue over my homeboys, we argue over what it's dude. Ghost couldn't tell him what it meant, man. He was like, man, I don't even be knowing what I be saying half the time, dude. And I remember dying laughing at the TV, like, did he just say he don't know what that
That's
means?
hilarious. And you know what's so funny about that is, yeah, you know, people are out there debating and arguing, you know, what these things mean, you know? I mean, it takes us back full circle to the native tongues, who is and isn't in the native tongues. I don't think it really matters, you know. The native tongues have never really put out like none of those original groups have ever put out like a list of like here are, you know, the official members, everyone else, you know, that's never happened. So it's just like whatever. Enjoy the music, celebrate the music, and move on.
And didn't Dredd say like that? It just started with them just all hanging out and being
Yeah,
friends and being in the studio together and stuff, and they
right.
ended up traveling together, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking like, okay, well, man, what would they say? Who would they say started? You know what I'm saying? The whole coalition, so to speak. But I'm just thinking about Dress. He would say they probably all did together.
Yeah.
Oh, Matthew, that's a good question.
Matthew Coop said wasn't Native Tongues just a tour. Um
Mm,
did it start out that way? I don't even remember. I
I
did
don't
it,
remember
yeah.
either.
But
Man,
but
look, you
there was
got me
I
doing
mean
research, live research right now. Go ahead, Tim.
there was definitely people more than the tour. I mean, there was definitely groups, Tribe, De La Soul, all, you know, all the groups we mentioned earlier. They were definitely hanging out, you know, being friends, making music together. And the term was coined. Native Tongues was coined. Wasn't it Q-Tip? Got it from an old soul album or something. I don't remember. But the term was coined by one of them, and so there was a name like they did name themselves the Native Tongue. So there was more. It was more than just a tour. Is what I'm saying. And yeah, Queen Latifah was in it. Moni Love. Yeah. Um. But dope. Just a
It's
dope
man,
collection.
dude. It says the Jungle Brothers started them.
Yeah, and I think you could also, you know, say that, you know,
Mm.
Red Alert has something to do with that
Oh
too,
yeah,
because you know Red Alert,
man. You
you
can
know,
say
was
Red Alert had a
responsible.
lot to do with a bunch of stuff.
That's
Man,
true. Yes,
that's a
true.
good one. You know, I do want, man. We need to get, man. If we get Latifah on the show too.
All right. Yeah.
Just to, I'd like to know what you know, or when we get Moni Love on, you know, I'd like to know too. Like, I know most people would be like, you know, what happened? That you know, I hate to ask the question that way, but just be like, what happened? Was it the industry? You know, was it the industry itself? You know, record deals, you know, being lost, or I don't even think anybody fell out, or is it just did y'all just grow into doing y'all own thing, and it became more of that? I'd be interested to know.
Yeah. Me too, man. That would be a really fun conversation to have. You know, and I know Drez has talked about this before, where like he wanted like this. I don't remember how many years ago this was, but some years ago, um, he wanted to do more stuff, like do a tour again, do some music, you know, and he talked about it. He talked openly in an interview. So I want to read something here for you, Profound, everyone listening
Hmm.
in. I really like this breakdown. This is from my man Roger, um, on Facebook, and he is always just really sharp with his commentary on hip hop. And so anyway, this is what he said in the Native Tongues fan group that we moderate. He says Zulu Nation is the organizational and theoretical forebearer with input and derived concepts coming from eclectic sources, especially 5% Nation of Gods and Earths. Africa Bambaataa is the godfather. Red Alert is the musical mentor. Chris Lighty is the protector. The core musical acts of Native Tongues are Jungle Brothers, De La Soul, A Tribe Called Quest, Moni Love, Queen Latifah, Black Sheep. First Orbit affiliates, Large Professor, and this is the first time I heard him affiliated with Native Tongues. Beat Nuts, Chi Ali, Leaders of the New School, Fushnikins, Most Def, Bush Babies, Lucian, Vinia Mojica, and secondary affiliates, Skef, Anselm, Diamond D, Brand Nubian, Beat Miners, Pete Rock, Mad Skills, Kid Hood, and JD. So I like that breakdown. And when I asked him about it,
Wow.
he's got, he can back up that stuff. But basically it's just, it's him doing his research, listening, reading, that type of thing, through the years. So I like that. And I like that, as much as people talk about, those core groups, we can't forget about Red Alert, and Chris Lighty. I didn't realize this till recently too. Like Chris Lighty was right there, involved as well. So,
I used to see his name a lot in the credits too, man. I remember the name. I didn't remember. I want to say Busta made him really popular by mentioning him, a lot, later on. But I do remember seeing Chris Lighty's name all the time, man, in the credits, man. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, and on Drink Champs, Drez was on Drink Champs. So he talks about Chris Lighty on there quite a bit. So if you haven't checked that episode out, please do.
Okay.
It's always humorous to watch Drink Champs with Nori.
Oh my God, man. Nori don't never let the guest answer. NRE. Oh man, that's a good one.
But he gets people to talk, so that's fun.
Oh, Matthew asks, how was Leaders not in the foundation? Man, some people say they were though. You know what I mean? But I don't think. I think if we looking at it like from a fan standpoint, it was a little early before their time. I mean, I guess because they were on Low End Theory, which was what, 91?
I think that's right.
That's 91, 90, 91. So. And damn, that's a good question, man. I can't answer that one. I you know what, Till? I'm sure they were around. Because when you mentioned Large Professor, like that made sense to me because Large Professor and Tip, like there was always a connection there. So right. It makes sense that he would be like considered, I know that they, do a lot of music together. But everybody else, man, that's a good question, bro.
I feel like, I think it was just organically how people, were moving at that time and building relationships at that time. I mean, Leaders of the New School were with, doing a lot with Chuck D, and Chuck D was really instrumental. Public Enemy. Yep. So, they were hanging around with that crowd, and maybe they weren't hanging around, the Native Tongues crowd as much as say Drez and Mr. Long, because Drez goes into that too on Drink Champs. So like, they were just around more. And so naturally they were, more of a core, group of the Native Tongues, even though they were the black sheep of the family tree, but still, they were right there. So,
I mean, are you right organically like that? Because that's how we all met. That's how I met Io originally years ago. That's how you and I met. And I mean, and that's usually those types of relationships last a lifetime though, bro.
Right. And I just feel like there wasn't like a gatekeeper of the Native tongue saying you're in, you're out,
Right. There wasn't a RZA.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Very different. So, but I feel my man Matthew Coop. I love this talk. I do too. I could talk about Native tongues all day long. I love this collective, man.
Man, you got me one, man. Hey, man, let's talk about the streaming. They need to get the catalog, the Daylight catalog on these platforms, man. I'm tired of waiting on this mess because I can't pull up. Stakes is high. I gotta, man. I don't have all of my physical copies like I used to, man. This is not making me feel good, man. The only thing that they got streaming is Grind Date.
Yep.
And then What's this other one? And the anonymous nobody.
Nobody. Yeah.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
I can't do
You,
anything with that.
you know what they did though? Several years ago, I think for like one day only, they gave away all their entire catalog for free. Do you remember this?
No.
Yeah, man. They emailed it out. They let people know, and they just sent downloads, links to downloads to anyone that wanted it. Because they were frustrated. I think they were frustrated that they
With the
couldn't
Tommy
get their
Boy
stuff. Yeah,
situation.
they couldn't get their stuff streaming, so they're like they couldn't sell it. Like they were contract. They probably broke some laws or contracts just giving it away, but they saw that as the go around, that they knew their fans wanted their music, so they're like, screw it, we'll just give it away. And they did. I remember because I had most of the albums, but there's a few things they had that I didn't have, so I was like, all right, let me get this. Some remixes and stuff. Yeah, Matthew Coop, you remember that?
Man, I'm getting ready to do something just for kicks. I want to see. I want to see what this. I want to see what Amazon tells me. I want to just
Oh, if
look
you
at something for kicks, just for kicks, man. Hmm. They selling an audio. There's an audio version of 3 Feet High and Rising CD, the actual CD. There's only one left in stock, and it's $40.
yeah. I was fortunate enough
Man,
to get all those CDs, when they came out and kept them. And then the ones that I had Stakes is High. Man, I was so bummed. I listened to the album so many times and it got really scratched.
hey
And I
man,
was so
you know
frustrated that
what,
I let that
song
joint get scratched.
the stakes is high, man. I love that. Just stop taking me for a ride.
Right.
Hey
Yes.
man,
That is the joint.
man. Hey, I
But
don't want to go that far. Sell my soul. I ain't trying to go that far. Hey man, I see. I don't have the album anymore, Till, and you got it,
yeah.
don't you? How
Well,
many copies you
that
got?
it, I had the one copy and it was really scratched. And it would still play every once in a while, like skip. But then, I think it's out of print, so it's like really expensive. But I found it. I found it at a record store here, mint condition. I was like, oh yes.
What?
So I got. You can have my scratch copy if you want.
Hey, but look, hey, check this out though. They Stakes is Highs on Amazon for $24. That's a little bit more.
Okay,
I can
that's
do
not
that.
bad. Yeah, that's not bad. I thought it was a little more expensive. But shout out to Marcus. He says I kind of miss going to the store and buying CDs. Marcus, come to Cincinnati, man.
Man,
You can do it with me. I go to the CD store, at least monthly. And we're
yeah, Till for
fortunate in
real with it.
Cincinnati. We have several stores here that sell CDs still, and you can find some really good stuff. So
I mean, I don't think CDs are ever gonna go anywhere, bro. You know what I mean? I mean, I
yeah,
get people package things differently, today with certain things, and you can get music out easier, not having a physical, that cost from physical product, but ain't nothing like
well,
having it physically.
the thing about CDs is there is a market out there for it,
Hmm.
but I'm not so sure there's many new people out there. So I think it's going to die off.
Mm. Oh, I
I
see
would
what you're
think,
saying. Yep.
you know,
Yep.
but maybe not. But I mean, I think it's here for a while because like there is a decent market out there that buys CDs still. But
And then you got people selling these collectors items. So yeah,
yeah, and tapes. Somehow people still buy tapes. I don't like tapes, but
man. And it's funny. I still have a tape deck too.
oh, do you really?
I do. I have a standalone tape deck. Yeah, man. A Pioneer standalone tape deck.
So
I sure do. I don't have. Well, I do have a couple of cassettes. I still got my original Dead Serious DOS Effects album on cassette.
oh, do you really?
Yeah. Yep.
That's dope.
The words are going off of it, but
I had some tapes, man, but I took them up to Everybody's Records, and
see,
I thought, you know what? Let's
let them go.
let them go, man. I I have all the CDs of all those tapes. I don't need them. Let a
Man,
collector
Till.
have them. You
Hey,
know.
when I had when cassettes was real big, you couldn't have told me that they was gonna be able to create something that was gonna sound better than the cassette, bro.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
I
yeah, and
wouldn't have believed it, man.
you had your Walkman. I mean, you
Yeah.
were set.
Oh man, you were
You were
definitely
set.
set, man.
But the
And
CD,
then when
man, it was,
the CD, the Sony Discman came, changed the game. A tape won't skip, but it can get chewed up though. It can't get chewed
yeah,
up though, Matthew.
th- that's what I would say. Where'd it go? A tape won't. I thought I showed that. Okay, yeah. Shout out to Matthew. You said a tape won't skip, but yes, you're right. Profound. They can get eaten up. And CDs, if you take care of a CD and you take care of a tape, the CD is gonna last much longer, no doubt.
Hmm.
And it sounds better, I
Hmm.
think. But Marcus says, I remember walking around carrying a Walkman carrying
Yeah,
a
Walkman.
Walkman and extra CDs. The
Man, the
worst was
battery.
the
Oh
batteries
heck yeah!
going
Hey, look, look.
bad.
Hey, look. They made it so compatible, right? So you could carry around the CDs, right? So you got the Walkman joint. Then you had the little CD case where you could put like 5 CDs in there and carry it with you. Now all
Right.
of a sudden you got to carry extra batteries in case your batteries go out.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then you got to make sure you had the dual shock on your Discman so your CDs
Yeah.
wouldn't skip.
The dual shock. Man,
Yeah,
dude,
man, you had to have that. You had to have that on there, so you had to have that
dude,
turned on.
I remember I remember having taking a pillow whenever I would go drive in my car. You have any ideas why I took a pillow with me? I think you know
To hold
why
your
I had a
CD
pillow.
player in place, man. What?
Yep. Because remember, you didn't have the CD player. You'd have to put the tape in, right? The tape with the cord that goes into the headphone out. And I remember having a CD player that skipped like crazy. So I had a pillow in the front seat.
Dude, that is so hip hop. It's like, man, I can't go nowhere without my music, man.
Can't do it, man. Can't do it. You know, one of the
Oh
worst.
man.
You know, one of the worst days of my life. I upgraded, and this was after I had like my first job, that like career like path job. You know, where I was getting paid like hardly anything compared to where I am now in my life. But for someone just out of college, just like no responsibility, not married, no kids, like it was a good job, right? I had extra money. I could actually buy more, CDs now. So anyway, I bought this used car. It had a 6 CD changer.
Changer.
Remember this?
Yeah.
You put 6 CDs in there, right? So I'm traveling to Pittsburgh, and I kid you not, as I go over the bridge into, was it West Virginia? I forget, because you have to like go through another state. Something fried the CD player, and it stopped working. It stopped working.
And you didn't have no more sounds.
I had to drive the rest of the way there with no sounds. Then I had to drive back. Then I had to figure out what to do with my life, because I had a car that couldn't play anything. I'm telling you, I had it was like my midlife crisis. Came right. I didn't know what to do with myself. Never got that thing fixed,
brother.
I couldn't. Yeah. Anyway,
Dude, that's hilarious. You
saved
can't
my
be
life.
taking no road trips, man. No road trips without the sounds, bro.
No shit. Nah, just can't do it.
Mm-mm.
Can't do it.
No, man.
Man, all right, y'all. Listen, native tongues. If you have thoughts on who is or isn't native tongues, or just any thoughts about the native tongues, no matter when you're viewing this or listening to this, comment, let us know. We'd love to celebrate this group, this collective, if you will. If you're on Facebook, we have a group on Facebook, the Native Tongues fan. I think it's the Native Tongues fans page. It's a group, and so search for that. Just search Native Tongues groups on Facebook, and you'll get it. Yeah, Marcus said driving a distance with no music would suck. Yeah, it does. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But make sure you get that. Profan, anything else we need to touch on tonight?
Nah, brother,
Any other
I'm
comment?
pretty.
Okay.
Nah, I got to get back to this fifth grade homework with my son, man.
All right, man. Did y'all have school today? Wait, you're in Nevada. Yeah, you had school today.
Yep.
There was
Yeah,
a
they had
big
school today.
snowstorm here, so
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah,
I feel a little bit of the cold, but I no snow. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I
But
was
it only cold. I got up to like 50 today.
okay. Yeah, it was cold here. Ice. That's the thing. It's not a lot of snow
Oh
on the
yeah,
ground,
man.
but there's a lot of
I don't
ice.
miss it at all. I don't miss it at all. I forgot. Yeah, you from the Midwest too, Till. Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
Like, nah, I don't miss it, man. I like to look at it on the TV though, but I don't miss driving in it or any of that, man, at
Yeah,
all.
man. I feel that. I feel that. Well, if you're tuning in tonight, we appreciate you tuning in. Shout out to Matthew and Marcus and everyone else that
Yeah,
that
yeah.
tuned in. Um, and make sure if you didn't hear at the top of the hour, we do have a new Nas tribute song. My man Sharp One did the lyrics, I did the beat, and we're gonna wrap it up in a old school maxi single. Got a virtual liner notes with lyrics, with an essay from Professor Stephen Dunn, with some other fun stuff in there. You're gonna be able to get that song, all the remixes. We got a bunch of remixes that people submitted, as well as our book, the Boom Bap Review. You're gonna get all that for just $20. So that's coming really soon. So be on the lookout for advertisements for that. Tonight was all about discussing the native tongues, who is and isn't in the native tongues. And we're going to be
Hmm.
talking a lot more about the native tongues in the weeks and months to come, because we are just about finished with our next book, the Native Tongues Review. And we're scheduled to put that out in May. So let me know if you want to get on the mail list to get information about that. You can sign up at boombapmonthly.com or leave a comment below that you want the updates, and we'll get you on that. Any other updates, Profound, before we do our shout outs?
Um, no, we doing the we put the native tongues out. Don't we got a profound album we putting out too at that time?
Yeah, that's right. That's
We'll
right.
talk
Tell
about
tell
yeah,
tell us
yeah.
more about that, Profound.
We got the distant gratification album that I had done, that we're putting out. I never had an opportunity to really put it out like I wanted to put it out. So um I said everybody's hip hop. We putting that record out, featuring, of course, myself, but featuring Master Ace, Wordsworth, um, man, a couple other MCs, and man, brother, like, yeah, I'm ready to get it and get
Yeah,
moving,
man. Yeah. So
get
you
moving.
will definitely be seeing and hearing about that in the weeks and months to come for sure. We gotta have a whole rollout plan in place. Got some videos.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's gonna be super dope. So
Matthew, you'll get it, man. We got you.
I want to. There you go.
We
Yes.
got you.
No doubt. No doubt. Cool. All
But
right,
yeah,
Profound. Got some shout outs before we go. Who you want to
man,
shout out?
I'm gonna shout out the crew today, man. Io, shout out to Io, Bo, Stowe, Joe, Util, of course, Matthew and Marcus, everybody that's always checking us out, everybody, our everybody's hip hop fans or crew, basically crew. We want to call them our everybody crew because everybody's always checking us out. And shout out to everybody's records too, man. Is when I get to Cincinnati, man, I'm coming through. So
Yeah, man.
that's it,
Dope.
bro.
Dope. Well, I also want to shout out everyone that tuned in, Sean Mason as well. All our
Yeah.
Patreon supporters, man. We continue to get people to sign up and support us through Patreon. So appreciate y'all buying into the vision. And speaking of albums that we're putting out, Iomas Marad, his new album is already out on Bandcamp. So you can get that, called City of Wind.
Better get it.
Just search everybody's hip hop label on Bandcamp. You will find it, and you can get that album. New Nas tribute single is coming up very soon, so stay on the lookout. That should hit next week. And next Thursday, we have a special guest coming on to talk about this really cool thing that he was a part of called Step Africa. So a little bit different than what we normally talk about here, but knows his hip hop, and we're gonna talk about some hip hop stuff with him. Talk about Step and how that relates to hip hop and those parallels. So Brian McCollum will be here next Thursday in the building. He's a good dude, man. He's got great energy. I really like this guy. So So we're gonna be chatting with him next Thursday. So come on back and tune in. And on that note, we say peace, 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 peace. There it is. Be good, y'all.
Word.